Hello, I'm here to review a LED grow light from Lighthouse Hydro. In particular, I bought the Blackstar Chrome 180 watt flowering model. This decision to buy this particular light was made as a result of many hours. I would say about 40 literal, like straight hours of researching other LED manufacturers, companies, grow light reviews from any type of grower, growing any type of thing, you name it. And I came to the decision to go with Lighthouse Hydro, just mostly because of their honesty and their genuine representation of their products and what you can actually realistically expect from them. And I always like that approach, and I saw a lot of outrageous claims by other companies claiming that their lights would, replace ridiculous wattage, like high pressure sodium lights of quadruple the wattage of their lights and whatnot. So, and there's also some other bad practices that other companies were doing and all sorts of scams out there. And so I went with Lighthouse Hydro because I was referred by a lot of other people's reviews. So to add to that pool of reviews is my review, which I would begin by saying it's a success. If you look at the LED market as it is right now, and what most people are saying about it is that LED grow lights are not there yet as far as the technology or it being worth it. And this video also disagrees with that statement, that opinion. It's clear to me that LED lights can be used for very optimal growth and extreme results with your indoor plants if you use them correctly and if you study up on how to use them. As for me, I'm an amateur gardener, indoor gardener though. I've been doing this only for as long as I've been growing these particular plants that I've had success with, which are the goji berry plant, also known as Lycium barbarum. It's a berry that grows on a awkward looking vine, but it looks like a bush at first and then turns into a vine that can barely support its own weight. So I had a couple of unique things I had to do to harness that sort of weird growing plant. But it's a nutritious berry, and if you want to learn more about the goji berry, you can look it up on Wikipedia or buy a sack of dried berries from Whole Foods, or perhaps a nearby import market. You can get them there. Also, I'll add that this plant has never been grown indoors before, or nobody's ever reported it before. So not only is this a success story or a positive review on the Blackstar Chrome light, is also what seems to be a world's first. So that is a gift I offer to Lighthouse Hydro as a testament to their product. But anyways, so this goji plant, this vine, I had my first plant about almost half a year ago, and I was growing it under compact fluorescent lights. I got these big 40-something watt bulbs. They're about the size of my fists here. So I've had these pointed at the goji plants for maybe about like four months. I had those, and for a while I had like a single halogen light, but it wasn't giving much red light anyway, so didn't really affect the growth that much. It just created a lot of heat. And on about the 5th month of growth, I cut clones from the mother plants and got them rooted and started growing them under CFLs, and eventually got a high pressure sodium light. And I began to grow like about 10 of my plants under a combination of compact fluorescence and high pressure sodium. So at that point, fast forward about a month and a half, on one of the oldest plants and also the tallest. Not one of the clones, but the original mothers. I had a couple of those. I noticed a little pre-flower, which was like a little thorn with a tiny green bulbous tip, really tiny. Like this is probably 52x. Like we're talking tiny. And I was like, oh, it's flowering, obviously. So yeah, I ordered the Blackstar Chrome flowering model on the day that I noticed that, because I wanted to make sure I was giving my plants just enough light. The high pressure sodium generated way too much heat to be able to keep it on 16 hours a day, so I knew I wanted to get something to replace it, and I've been looking at LEDs for a while, and that pre-flower was the event that, you know, sparked my decision to buy the LED light. So, you know, waited about 4 or 5 days and kept the high pressure sodium over the plant with a little pre-flower thorn with a little tiny thing, and the little green bulb, it got a little bit bigger over the course of 4 days. Maybe no more than doubled its already tiny size. It went from, like, I don't even know, like mechanical pencil lead to like full size #2 pencil lead. So like, yeah, we're talking from like tiny to really small. And let's see. So then I get the Blackstar Chrome 180 watt in the mail. Around 4 days later. Ordered before a weekend, so I had to wait. And I took a single one of the clone plants that was in my little grow chamber up there. I took it out. I had the high pressure sodium in that cage before I introduced the Blackstar Chrome, and I've completely replaced the high pressure sodium easily with the light. So I took one of my smaller. This is from the first generation of clones. I've had 2 generations of clones actually. So this is one of the older generations of the clones. So this one's about 2 months old. So I took this out and put it under the high pressure sodium light the day I got my Blackstar Chrome in the mail, just as a so for comparison, I could see how it did under the 150 watt high pressure sodium, just as a comparison. So this one was under the high pressure sodium. I'd say. Also, I want to note that I've only had the Blackstar Chrome for about a little bit over 2 weeks. So this, over the course of 2 weeks, this plant, when kept under the high pressure sodium, and the CFLs actually, I had CFLs and the high pressure sodium in combination. CFLs I kept on about 14 hours a day, I would say, and then the high pressure sodium like 12 or less, because it just got too hot. And I got about this much vertical growth, so maybe about 2 inches, and a little bit of bushiness from the high pressure sodium. You can tell what light is responsible for what growth just by looking at the leaves. These are like densely packed new growth, and like these little nodal leaves. You can see these little tiny guys popping out of little intersections of, I don't even know what to call them. I'm an amateur gardener, so I'm just observing these changes. But yeah, it had pretty minimal growth over the course of like 2 weeks of high pressure sodium. 2 inches tall, and some very minimal extra branches and flowering. So one of the other clones from the same generation, which was roughly the same height as this one, that I put under the Blackstar Chrome light, and it had been under the Blackstar Chrome for 2 weeks, as opposed to under the high pressure sodium and the multiple high wattage 6500K CFL light bulbs. This one I'm about to show you is the other one from the same generation, only grown under the LED light, No other conditions are different. I gave them the same fertilizer, same soil. I watered them all at the same time. They didn't get any more water or anything. Completely controlled. And this is what it looked like from 2 weeks. This is the only controlled, I have some other results that I'm going to show you later, but this is the only controlled comparison between my 150 watts of high pressure sodium and probably another 120 watts of compact fluorescent lighting. This is the only controlled difference that I can show. So in comparison, there are so many little leaves popping out, it's not even funny. In terms of vertical growth, I can't even tell how much is grown vertically, but in terms of flowering out and bushing out, this thing is hilarious. Like, look at the difference. Look at all those little leaves. That all grew over the course of 2 weeks under the Blackstar flowering model LED light. So that's 2 weeks, and those are on young goji plants. So if your plants are young, they probably won't bear fruit because they won't be tall enough or old enough. But in the case of the mother plants, which I also kept in the cage, which by the time I introduced the LED light were already so tangled up in the wires of the bird cage that I wouldn't be able to remove them if I wanted to. They are my designated fruit bearers by default because they're just a tangled mess. It's like a body snatcher plant. Those, it was pretty much the same story except on just a much more vertical level. Like they were just longer plants. They became less vertical because they were just so heavy that they bent over and started hanging downwards just under their own weight. So I got those tied up in the cage. I'll show you those. They had no, well, by the time I introduced the LED light, I had a couple of just thorns without bulbs, like pretty decently, I had probably about 10 across all like four or so plants in there, but they weren't growing any sort of like the bulbs which the flower bloomed from. So I had all these weird green sort of pseudo thorns, but nothing was really growing or blooming or fruiting. So 2 weeks of the Blackstar Chrome. You might freak out a little bit. So right here, this is the tallest branch of the oldest and tallest goji plant I have. So right there is the end of it. As you see, just from about the middle part of that branch to the tip, there's about 10 decently mature and plump berries slash flowers. Wherever there's a flower, there will be a berry eventually. And the berry size kind of depends on what part in the vine that it's at. So if this vine was a little bit longer, if I kept it under compact fluorescence, I'd probably have about 20 berries on the single branch, starting at about the halfway mark. But yeah, you can clearly see these berries growing along this one. And then the other branch of the same plant, which was a relatively newer growth, this one has about 8 to 10 berries as well. And then we got some more plants. These are much younger berries, but you can still see little small. It's actually kind of hard to discern on the camera the small berries from the small leaves because they both give the same silhouette, and because this light is so powerful, it's drowning out the color quality difference between the berries and the leaves. But I can assure you that most of these small things that you're seeing are in fact berries and not leaves. So as you go up, you can see lots of flowering. And mind you that 2 weeks ago there was maybe 10 little tiny thorns, not even with little bulbs at the end. So, and this is the case with every goji plant that is over 1.5 feet tall, that's been under this light, has been growing berries like no other. So, as for the physical light, the construction quality is immaculate. It's very well built. It's very solid. There's nothing questionable about the build quality, and it stays relatively cool to the touch. I mean, after being left on for about 12 hours straight, it will be slightly warm to the touch as opposed to cool, but which is actually beneficial to my particular plant, which is nice. But it gives minimal heat. You can pretty much not have to worry about ventilation with this light. And the balance of the light spectrums, like the red for flowering and the very few blue lights that they have matched up with the I believe it's the white infrared. I think it's infrared, the white color light. There's like one in each quadrant of the light. There's like these 4 chambers. They got tons of red, maybe 2 or 3 blue. I think 2, and then 1 white. It seems to be the perfect balance of all the spectrums needed for flowering growth, because it gives it just enough of the vegetative growth to where the plant can support newer and newer bushing out, like newer and newer growths of the tiny clusters of leaves and flowers that I've been getting, and berries. I find that berries quickly follow the new bushy leaves that have been coming out. So yeah, it gives it just enough like vertical growth to like give more space between nodes and have more stuff bush off of that part. And the power of the flowering growth is insane. Like those berries, you know, went from BB size to raisin size over the course of, you know, maybe 5 days. Absolutely insane. Like nothing I managed to get out of my 150 watt high pressure sodium. So that light right there completely replaced and has outperformed my 150 watt high pressure sodium light with just a standard high pressure sodium bulb for just regular growth spectrum. It's not one of those special ones, just a regular red. And 3 to 4 of these humongous, these are, you can't tell because it's the YouTube or video screen, but these bulbs are giant. These are, I want to say 40 something, yeah, 42 watt, 2800 lumens, and the color temperature, I think they were 6500. So I've had 4 of these and the high pressure sodium on the plants. I'm seeing better growth, completely replacing all 4 of these and the high pressure sodium with the Blackstar LED, which in terms of heat, energy efficiency, and growth and yield is completely outdone my expectations. Completely. It has completely replaced my complicated heat producing system that I had before. Now that being said, I properly harnessed the light. I mean, if you look at my cage, it's completely covered with reflective white plastic. It's white on the inside, it's black on the outside, so you can flip it around. And there's very little just around the edges of the light. There's, you know, a little bit of it escaping. I mean, you can obviously see my hair is kind of pink right here, so it's not 100% kept in there. But all I'm saying is, if you set up the light properly and get it a good distance from the plants, or it's not giving them, you know, too much intensity, but it's close enough for it to give it the, you know, just the right amount, and you're not losing light everywhere, you will have a very successful grow with whatever vegetable or fruit that you might be growing. or plant with any consumable results. So all plants are going to need the blue spectrum light for vegetative growth and red for flowering and bloom. That's a universal thing. So I can't see why my particular experience would be different than somebody who was growing tomatoes or basil or whatever they want, jalapenos. They would have great success as well, I would believe. So other than that, I would have to say I would give I would give this light and the company Lighthouse Hydro 10 out of 10 stars, um, just for a great product that completely outperforms its claims. In fact, when I read the eBay page for where they're selling where Lighthouse Hydro is selling their LED lights, they seem almost too modest in what their lights can do. Um, I like I really think that these lights are absolutely killer, and I replaced 150-watt high pressure sodium and over 160 watts of CFL lights with one of their single units. That's my factual claim. And I'm thinking into the future, you know, if I were to supplement that grow setup, that cage, with say like a blue vegetative growth model from Blackstar, like put that at the top of the cage pointing down, I would get probably really excellent yields from what I've seen with this one. In terms of being a flowering model, this does everything I could ever wish for it to do, plus more. It totally exceeded my expectations. I was not expecting that much growth, and the plants love it. And yeah, so when eventually down the road I invest in a blue spectrum Blackstar, or just a yeah, just a Blackstar from Lighthouse, I will make another separate review and compare the vegetative growth of those lights compared to, say, you know, these really nice big $10 CFL lights. And but until then, yeah, I couldn't recommend this light enough. I've done a lot of research on other LED companies. I came to this decision, and I'm proud of it. It's a very good investment for any grow setup. And if you use it properly, I think it will exceed your expectations. And so yeah, I'll continue to recommend this brand, and especially the Blackstar line of products, to anybody who shows any interest in starting their own indoor grow or garden. It's been absolutely great. I can't wait to do business with these guys again. And I'm no way affiliated with Lighthouse Hydro as a company, or anything like that. I haven't even contacted them at this point. I'm just simply a happy customer who's gotten success with one of their lights. So take that for what it's worth. Of course, I'd encourage you to always do your own research on lights, but if you want, you know, if you enjoy the comparisons and the real-world examples and videos where you can actually see stuff, I hope this video has provided you with enough information to make an informed decision and try out one of these lights. I'm sure you'll like them. Thanks.